I've spent over 6 months putting together my first real desk setup, taking inspiration from all the different setups I've seen to find what works for me. And hopefully you can take some inspiration from mine as well. I tried to strike the right balance between aesthetics and function. And while I've been thoroughly enjoying my new setup, there is a tiny plot twist. There is one item here that didn't quite win me over and I very much regret buying. Trust me, you'll be surprised which one it is. So grab a coffee, relax, and enjoy this desk setup tour. And as always, links to all the products in this video can be found in the description below if you see anything you like and want to help support the channel. Starting above the desk, I have this 2-tier industrial shelving that I picked up off Amazon that I'm treating as a snapshot into some of my passions and interests. I have a small, curated collection of art books which I enjoyed looking at for inspiration since I went to school for design and illustration. My prized possession among these art books being my Century 2 book that was personally autographed by the late Sid Mead. I've also got a metal dinosaur sculpture that was gifted to me by my wife when we started dating, as well as a Dragon Ball Heroes card I purchased while on a memorable trip to Japan. Behind that is a 4-foot Nanlite tube to help set the mood for the Goku-themed color lighting around the setup. Capping off the top shelf is a collector's statue from one of my favorite book and game series, The Witcher. On the lower shelf, I've got a couple of pieces of Detroit from a local artist. The bricks are followed by an NFT that was made by one of my friends who's also a really talented artist. Next to that is my DJI Mavic Mini drone. Then we have the Meta Quest 2, which only gets used now for some rounds of Beat Saber and 3D modeling in Gravity Sketch. I also have a couple of plants for decoration and some more Aperture MC lights around the shelves. To the right of the shelving is the super famous Skatus pegboard from IKEA that everyone uses in their setups, along with some of its accessories. I can confirm that it's pretty awesome. It's super easy to install and great for organizing whatever you want in an aesthetic and functional way. I have my GoPro Hero 8 here, as well as a Pelican case to hold my SD cards and my other Sony G-Lens whenever it's not in use. I've also got a Buster Sword I picked up from Etsy and the original Japanese FF7 soundtrack a close friend gifted me as some decorations on the board. Lastly, I have this wireless light switch plate on here that brings us over to the other end of the shelving. The Torch Hair standing lamp from Lee Power Tech. They actually had reached out to me a while ago to see if I would be interested in checking it out. When I saw the design, I instantly saw a good use case for it. Not only is the main lamp adjustable, but it has this secondary smaller lamp that can be positioned anywhere so that I can use it as a key light on my face for my video calls. The main lampshade has dual-sided lighting, which helps give my setup a nice vibe, and it also has 10 different brightness levels and 6 color temperatures, ranging from 2700 Kelvin all the way up to 5700 Kelvin. In other words, lots of shades of warm and cool light. And the lamp gives you 3 different ways to control all of these settings. You can use the controls on the lamp itself. If you prefer an independent controller, it comes with that as well. This controller also is magnetic, so you can place it anywhere that's metal. And lastly, it comes with a wireless light switch plate if you like to treat it like a normal light that you turn on and off like your other lights in the room. All I can think of that can maybe be a little bit improved on the lamp is a slightly more stable base, as most floor lamps that are this tall do have a slight wobble when they don't weigh as much. But at $90, it's hard to complain for all the functionality you're getting with it. Moving on to the desk itself, I used an 80-inch kitchen butcher block top from Home Depot that cost me around $200 and that I stained myself. It sits on a pair of IKEA Alex drawers, which are pretty much the unofficial mascots of desk setups by now. Hey, they're cheap and they work. I've also run some Govee LED light strips around the side and back of the desk because it just looks cool. Under the desk, I have my PS5 mounted with these stealth brackets that are made just for it. I do have a couple of other setups for my PS5, but wanted to see how it would work at my desk. It's nice to get a few games in, but really, I wanted it here because I'm testing out the streaming quality of my PlayStation Portal for an upcoming review. Also under the desk, I keep my ATH M50X headphones, which are even more comfortable now that I changed out the worn ear pads with these cool gel ones from Wicked Cushions. And the PlayStation Pulse wireless headset on these flip-out sticky hooks for easy access. As for cable management, I use this black tray to help me keep everything out of sight and off the ground. For the chair, I'm still using the OC6 ergonomic chair that was sent over for me to try out from FlexiSpot. It looks great and feels great. But mostly, I love leaning back on it because of the headrest. On the left side of the setup, I've got the Shure SM7DB on an Elgato low-profile mic arm that's clamped onto the desk. I've got it positioned so that it can swing out for me to use comfortably without hitting anything. This mic is very well known in the podcast and YouTube world at this point, and while it's not cheap, the sound quality is top tier. On the ends of the desk, I have the Edifier 1280T monitor speakers sitting on Kanto S4 tilted speaker stands. I love the look and sound of these speakers for the price. Moving on to the heart of the setup and what's running everything most of the time is my 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro that's spec'd out for video editing. I also use a Windows laptop for work, so I'm constantly swapping them in and out of this setup. I used to be a PC guy for a long time, but I'm just loving everything on the Apple ecosystem at the moment. It's been great for productivity and everything just works. Now, if you look closely at my laptop, you might notice the keyboard looks a little wonky, and that's because I have this semi-transparent keyboard cover on it. As much as MacBooks are amazing laptops, for some reason when the keys wear down, the matte coating starts to go and you get a little bit of shine underneath, which makes it look like you just ate some greasy pizza and went to town on your keyboard. So we have a bunch of these cheap covers to try and help us keep it looking brand new. My MacBook Pro is sitting on my Bololo setup cockpit, which is a game changer when it comes to monitor risers and desk shelves. This is their large version in walnut. This was actually the first product I purchased and reviewed on my channel. Unlike a lot of the other desk shelves which are only about looks, this one is extremely functional and looks good. On the other side of the desk shelf is a modular grid mounting system where you can attach their accessories and move them anywhere around the shelf. I'm currently using their laptop riser, MagSafe phone holder, and large tray. I just love how both my MacBook and my iPhone look like they're floating right in front of the desk shelf. Being able to charge my phone while using it both in portrait and landscape mode while working is awesome. Also on the desk shelf is my Focusrite Bowcaster 2 audio interface. I have both my Shure SM7DB microphone and my speakers plugged into this. It's very beginner friendly and lets me hook up 2 XLR microphones if I ever wanted to do a podcast type setup with the second person. On the end of the desk shelf I have some more small modern plants for decor, and above the shelf is my trusty old ASUS PB287Q monitor. I've had it since 2015 and it's still going strong. It's a 4K 28-inch display with a 60Hz refresh rate and great for productivity. I have my monitor mounted on an Ergear monitor arm that was only $30, and it's clamped onto the back of my desk so that it can give me a clean floating look right above the desk shelf, as well as giving me full flexibility in positioning it however I want. On top of the monitor is the BenQ ScreenBar Plus light bar that helps reduce eye strain when you're staring at your monitor for long hours. Plus, it's also great for throwing a nice spotlight on your desk. This one is pretty affordable, but at the cost of not having a wireless control puck. Under the Bololo desk shelf, I have their large tray, and in it is my 12.9-inch M1 iPad Pro in the Magic Case keyboard, along with the Apple Pencil, as well as a notepad and pen, and a controller for my speakers. I mostly use my iPad when traveling, but lately I use it for drawing to relax or when I have an idea I'm trying to flesh out, and sometimes for going over notes or a shot list when I'm making these videos. Under the tray, I usually keep whichever laptop is not currently in use. And next to that, I keep a PS5 controller charging on a USB-C cable at the ready for when the mood strikes. On the other end and under my laptop is my USB-C Thunderbolt docking station. This one was one of the first products that was sent to me for my channel. It's from Orco and has been working out great as my main hub that everything plugs into, allowing me to just run one cable into my MacBook that handles both charging, my display, and everything else. In my video about it, my main complaint was that there were no rubber grips anywhere on it, which made it easy for it to slide around. But I resolved that by adding my own grip to the bottom of it. Even with these flaws, it's still a great dock for one reason besides working like it should: the price. I've seen it under $200 regularly and even under $100 during some sales, which is crazy when the CalDigit docking station that I want is $400. I'd eventually like to get one of those to see if it's worth the cost, but this one will do for now. In front of the desk shelf, I've got my keyboard, mouse, and a couple of other accessories on top of a Don Trees felt desk mat. It gives my setup a little bit of texture and is very comfortable. The quality is also very impressive for how cheap it was at under $20. For my current keyboard, I have the Logitech MX Mechanical wireless keyboard with the clicky version of the switches. Their products are always solid and I really don't have any complaints. In front of that is the Aothia wooden wrist rest that was also a great price. Even though it's solid walnut wood, it is surprisingly very comfortable to use and fits the aesthetic I was going for very well. For my mouse of choice, I'm rocking the cream of the crop, which is the MX Master 3 from Logitech. There's not much else to say about it. I think it's the perfect balance of ergonomics, looks, and functionality. There's a reason almost everyone has one of these in their setups. And now, unfortunately, I have to discuss the one product that I'm very disappointed in, especially because I see these everywhere in the setup world. And that's the Delta Hub Carpio 2 Wrist Rest. It's hard to speak to this, as when I choose a new product to add to my setup, it comes from a place of excitement and positive expectations. So I'll start with what I do like about it, the aesthetic design and branding. Their packaging is one of the best I've seen, and it's a really nice experience. I mean, just look at how this box opens. Seriously, great work from their design team. It even comes with a nice pouch, a sticker, and a nice message welcoming you into the club, which is what it feels like because everyone has one of these. So far so good, because the price for this small thing was $40. So I had began using it right away, and I had seen that it takes about a couple of weeks for you to adjust to it, and it even says so on the packaging. Cool, no problem. Now to get into why I don't recommend this product. Right away, I noticed my palms starting to sweat, which has never happened before. I think that's because of the soft rubber material on the Carpio 2.0. I think their pricier one, the Carpio G, takes care of that problem with the more breathable mesh design, but I'm not paying $50 to find out. So during the adjustment period, I used it for about 8 hours a day, with some days even being closer to 10 hours. But I started to notice a slight pain in my wrist. I ignored it and assumed it was just part of the adjustment period as I was learning to work with it. Cut to 1 month later, and the pain gets a little worse. So when I stop using it, my wrist even feels a little weak and still hurts. I keep thinking it's just me and I'm just doing something wrong and not applying good ergonomic habits or something. So I doubled down and really worked on my posture, elbows, pressure, everything. And I just kept going for another month. My wrist did not get better. About a week after I stopped using it, my wrist pain did eventually go away. I searched for other reviews and opinions, and I did find some that spoke about this exact problem that I had, so I know I'm not alone. Now, I have a few theories as to why this might have been the case for me. Maybe this is more for gaming, where you're making larger movements with your mouse, as I tend to make micro movements when editing and working. Or it could be that it's not very compatible with the MX Master mouse since it's already shaped so well to most hands. Please let me know in the comments if you've experienced the same thing with these, if you think I'm doing something wrong while using it, or if it's been working great for you. Delta Hub does have a 30-day no questions asked refund policy. So my advice is if you really want to try it, and you find out it's not working for you, take them up on that policy after the 2 weeks. It could save you $40. It's one thing if a product does what it's supposed to, but not very well. But I've never had a product do the opposite for me. I'd say save the money and put it towards an ergonomic mouse or something else for your setup. I hope you found some inspiration for your own setup, or at least enjoyed the tour. If you did, I'd be thrilled if you dropped a like, subscribed, and hit that notification bell. If you want more of a deep dive into some of these products, check out my desk and gaming setup playlist, and if you want to check out my modern living room setup, which is right outside this office, you can check out this video here.